everyone, and welcome to another book talk video. And today we are discussing the book Rebel by Marie Lu. This book. I read the Legend series way back when my 17-year-old self finished Champion. I was like,
one day the author needs to come out with another book.
Because at that time, I did not like how it ended. I did not like how it ended on them re-meeting each other again after 10 years. I hoped so much, prayed to the book gods, and at last, that day had finally come, and it was Rebel. I don't mean to sound like a terrible person when I said that I probably could live without ever reading this book and been okay. I don't know. There's just so many opinions I have on this book. I don't really think this kind of book genre works for standalones. I think a lot of it is that it was an interesting premise, but we had Warcross that kind of talked about the stuff already, which is kind of interesting to link because it takes after Warcross, so it kind of fills up kind of the gaps of Warcross, kind of how it ends at the end and you don't know did the whole reward system work. It's kind of cool to read from this perspective, but technically I feel like this was like Warcross part 3 and I think what made this book not work so well is because it was a standalone book. You couldn't really get to know the characters, and I mean, I know you kind of know Day or Daniel from the previous series, but you really don't know Eden, and I think that was my biggest problem with the book, is that Eden was in it. And not that I didn't like his character, it's just you read the Legend series and it's taken between Day and June's perspective, and so not having June's perspective, I didn't like it. I think if the author maybe have just wrote a book where it was taken from Day and June's perspective of them kind of re-meeting back up and they maybe did a little mission together and called it a day, I think that would have worked better, because I think what the author tried to do what they do normally in a 3-book series into one, especially it being only like 300 some pages, it just didn't work, and I didn't feel like I was able to really care about the plot that much because I was just meeting a lot of these characters for the first time, and I think that was the biggest downfall of this series, and especially because Eden wasn't really that big of a character in the Legend series. I mean, I could be wrong, but I really don't remember his character. Like, I remember him being there, but I didn't really remember him being that significant in any of the plot points in that. So then we read about him in this, I was like, okay. And then you have respect the legend, idolize the prodigy, celebrate the champion, but never underestimate the rebel. Okay, I get it. Eden is supposed to be the rebel here, but who was Day and June then? Were they not rebels? Like, I get it, like the legend, prodigy, and champion thing, but what were they then if this is the rebel? And besides, kind of just felt like it was kind of also filled with fan-pleasing stuff at the end where Day proposes to June, and I did not like it. And that's what's weird. When I read Champion way back then, I wanted that type of ending. Like, I wanted that closure of, ooh, what happened to them, and now we get it and I don't like it. And I think some of it is just after experiencing life a little bit, I like that bittersweet ending. I like the whole idea of they haven't seen each other in 10 years and then meet again on the streets, and it ends with them just introducing themselves to each other, and then it ends. Now I love that ending because it was bittersweet. The what if, here we are, someone I knew from my past is right in front of me, and I liked it like that. It was kind of like doors open to possibilities. For this, like, the whole engagement scene, yeah, it was cute, but I felt like it was more just for the fans than rather an actual part of the story. I don't know, like, I felt like she deleted sections that happened in the Legend series in order to make the plot fit here. Yeah, so June had a perspective in this. I think I would have liked it a lot more. I think I would have actually loved the book. Like I said, I think if it was something where June and Day finally meet again, maybe June had to reach out to Day or Day had to reach out to June because they had to do something, and they went on a little mission together, I think I would have liked the book a lot more. I feel like if it's like a singular mission, it's like, okay, it could be done in like 300 pages. It would have been at least 2 books, and those kind of rushed in, and that's why I didn't find I really cared much about what happened in it. Like, even if Eden had a few perspectives in here, I would have been okay, and the rest was Day and June, it would have been fine by me. So Eden does these drone races, he wins, and that is it Han or Han? I never could figure it out. I'm terrible with pronouncing names. If you do this channel, I will never pronounce a book character's name right. He approaches Eden and he knows all this stuff about him and like where he lives and whose brother he is and all this other stuff. Yes, because if I was met by some sketchy guy in alley who knew everything about me, my first instinct would be,
yes, I should trust this guy.
Really? And then you sit there
say, wow, I really got myself in a pickle here.
Well, no duh, when you trust a guy who's in an alley, first of all, and knows everything about you, so he has stalked you, you probably should not have trusted him to begin with. Then I get it, like, you know, he was kind of kidnapped, held against his will. I get that portion. But initially, he did technically agree to work with him. Yeah, this book spoiled itself. We hear in the beginning, like, Days, he is trying to find this one person. AI's been tracking him down. They should not have given the name. The minute they said who this name was, and then you find out Eden was technically working for him, I get it, it was supposed to be a shock.
The guy who Day was hunting found Eden.
I think it could have been a better plot if we knew Eden was working with Han, or Han, whatever, but we didn't know who Day was hunting. It could have led to that mysterious and then like kind of quarter way through the point of, oh my gosh, the person I've been hunting is my little brother's working for. That could have been a really good plot point. Instead it was like,
Oh look, we found the bad guy. Now we just gotta set up a plan on how to get him.
and also they can track anyone because of his AIS, but yet they get notified when they get tracked. Maybe I misunderstood that part, but what's the point of having abilities to track anyone if they know if you're tracking them? Really, the people, like the high up people in the sky floors and everything, they're really the ones who have this technology. So trying to find someone who's underground is not gonna work when tracking them. So what's the point of this whole tracking service anyway? I get it if you're trying to catch someone who's high up there, when most of your work happens in the undercity, and the undercity can't afford this technology. I was kind of confused about that. So does everyone have a level system kind of installed into them? Also, the book might have worked better if Eden was younger. If Eden was like 16, 15 years old, kind of a little on the younger side. And I get it, like he's kind of a genius and everything. But really, if you do the math, Eden's probably like 20 here. And then it ended up at the end, Eden ends up defeating them on his own, really. So what was the whole point of Day beating there? It's one of those books where, you know, you have thoughts on it, but you don't know how to put those thoughts into words. That point where Day walks into the apartment and he's like,
Huh, they didn't announce I was here. Something feels off.
it's like those horror movies.
If something feels off, why are you gonna go in there?
Oh, that house looks sketchy.
Let's go into the house anyway.
If something looks off, you just call the police. I don't blame Marie Lu. I think she's an awesome writer. I think she can write some really good books. I think the problem is that you were trying to put almost what people spend a whole book series on in one book of 300 pages. Think of it. 300 pages, 3 book series. Each book has to be fit into 100 pages. Anyways, that's my review. I gave it 3 out of 5 stars, maybe 3.5. Like I said, I probably should have reread the series before I read this. I'm interested to know what you think though. Did you like it? Did you have mixed feelings on it? Please leave your comments down below. Thank you for watching. Bye!